Welcome to the Occult Rejects. We got a late one for you here, and we're live. We got a bunch of rejects with us tonight as well. Let's first start off with the Cosmic Peach herself. You all know who she is, Julia. What is going on, Julia? Thank you very much for joining us again. Can you please let everybody know where they can find all your amazing work?
Thanks, Nick. I'm actually really excited for this one. I can already tell I'm going to learn a lot. Cosmic Peach podcast, wherever you listen to podcast. Official Occult Reject, whenever Nick will have me on.
Oh, I'll have you on whenever you want, believe me.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for this one. Thanks for having me.
Of course, Julia, of course. And we got the Indigo Man himself, Ethan. What is going on, sir? Please let everybody know where they can find your amazing work and about your books, please.
Well, thank you so much, Nick, for having me on, and everybody. Always excited to communicate and, like you said, learn. Always am fascinated with Gematria, so looking forward to this. I'm on all the usual social media. Should be easy to find, and no fakes yet. And I have a few books on Amazon, and just finished an article on the Circumpunct, which is on Occult Research Institute. Check it out, and thanks everybody for having me.
Of course, hell yeah, definitely go check out his stuff. And that other most guy himself, TJ. What is going on, sir? How are you?
What's up? I'm doing all right here. Yeah, you can find me at Contemporary Problems with an underscore at the end on various platforms and all that. I'm mostly known for my memes, but I dabble in the podcasting and I know lots about Gematria and stuff like that. That's even how I met our main guest here tonight and stuff, is through that. So I'm excited to have him on and bring him on, part of the crew.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate you suggesting somebody else. Even Cthulhu, when you brought him on. I thought that was great. So we got AJ tonight, which we're finally getting to the guests. We got AJ from BallDontLie, AJ Straight. Please, AJ, let everybody know what your deal is and where they can find all your amazing numbers work.
Hey, Nick. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm very humbled and honored to be a part of the Reject crew. Ethan, good to see you. Julia, very nice to meet you both. Nick, I've been trying to catch up with some of your work. I haven't seen a ton on the subject of Gematria. So hopefully there's some, just new tidbits I can share. But none of this is possible without TJ. So I just want to thank TJ for opening the door for me to come join you guys, hang out, and have some fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be totally honest. Oh, sorry about that. I'll be totally honest with you. I think Gematria shows that we probably have was TJ's name was in
it. But yeah, my name's AJ, or that's my pen name rather for the books that I've written. I go by AJ Straight. I've written 10 books at this point on the subject. Really broke into the work of Gematria, which is the Kabbalistic practice of coding letters into numbers. But it also includes date durations, birthdays, the zodiac, symbolism, colors. You'll learn along the way that it's amazing how much the world of news and sports and politics and science all intertwine all at the same time, right? And that includes entertainment and music and movies and TV shows. Think about how Netflix released the show called Conclave on Netflix, and then the Pope dies, and then now the conclave has to step in and elect a new Pope, right? I mean,
I thought that was weird. And you know what the craziest thing is that I had even covered not too long ago the St. Gallen Mafia, only because that, I'll be totally honest, it started getting a little popular amongst the religious conspiracy community. I thought it was interesting, so I looked into it. But it's just weird how like even that has all to do with them trying to put a Pope in. Which they thought was just
Nick,
died,
you remember when I told you I thought it was weird that Hulu decided to put Angels and Demons on in April, the same month that the Pope died, and like Angels and Demons is all about the Pope dying and like the Illuminati and weird stuff. So it's like they purposely picked it, to drop in April, and then the Pope dies like a couple weeks later. I just thought that was interesting too. Everything's on purpose.
Yeah, it was like a way to condition us to, the Pope's gonna die.
Okay. And a name like Hulu, right? Cthulhu. The Hulu is in Cthulhu.
Wow, yeah, I didn't ever think about that.
And not even gematria related, you guys. Just think about, this is the first American Pope, right? Just like you had Donald Trump, who came back and returned, right? He's born on Flag Day. And what happened right before they announced Pope Leo? Donald Trump posted an AI image of himself as the Pope.
That was a little.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was like, that's ballsy.
He died at age 88. Shout out Benjamin Salinas in the comments. That matters because Trump equals 88, right? That's why part of his whole campaign is 888, right? So, examples for days, you guys. That there is a very strong reason why gematria was not taught to us growing up. They taught us the ABC song. Maybe even told you that A is the first letter, B is the second, but they never explained to you why that's so important and why that the language. The English language is the global language, right? People ask me a lot, but what about Chinese? What about, any other language? It still applies. However,
yes,
don't forget that English is the global language. Anywhere you go in the world, English is going to be the most, not necessarily the most commonly spoke, but it's the most spread around the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something I do just want to add real quick, and it was probably one of the few shows that is actually about gematria a little bit that I covered myself. It was me and Lisa. Something, well, for one, we do use the alphanumeric system. So there you're already tying letters and numbers. I mean, something that we cover that I don't think most people would know, maybe you guys do, that a lot of older texts back in the day that were actually in different languages were translated due to gematria and using the alpha, using the numeric value and then switching it over. So you cannot say this shit isn't real. That's just my opinion. It's been
I guess to open, just so people that are curious, what is gematria? Okay, gematria means geometry within language, right? So it's our language that overlaps with mathematics. And think about how whenever we as human beings first entered this planet or this plane or whatever this is that we're living in, numbers always existed. There were always 2 trees. There were always 10 pigs. It was just a matter of, putting a label on it, putting a number on it, right? So just think about how beautiful that is. God, the great mathematician, the grand creator, right? Yeah, Mon says Matthew. There's a reason why there's a book in the Bible called Matthew, and I have something to reference to that. Shout out to you, Nick, with just looking at your website. If you don't mind, maybe we'll start there.
Sure.
I'm going to share my screen with just a couple of slides I put together here. Find it. Shoot. Just had it.
You're good. Got all these people commenting. They're not even on my channel. I can't even comment back. I said Benjamin. I see him all the time on my show. He's a fan of yours?
I believe so. Yeah. So since I was able to connect my channel here too, I'm sure some folks that followed me might be tuning in as well.
Yeah, so that
Shout out to Coffee Girl.
Yeah, I saw that. I wanted to type back coffee and weed, my favorite, but she wouldn't see it because it's on my side.
Okay, I just requested my screen share. Let me know if you guys can see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So once again, quick introduction of myself. This is just screenshots of all my books that I've written. You guys can find me on YouTube, where I'm streaming from right now. I'm also on Instagram at BallDontLie with 3 L's instead of 2. I also have a Patreon and a Winnable page. That's for people that like to take advantage of this knowledge when it comes to the world of sports betting. And I have an example or two I can share with you guys with that. But I also have a weekly standing podcast on Tuesday nights at 9:00 Central Time with who I call the Godfather. His name's Rambo. He's known as the Truth Codes. He's got his own Patreon thing going as well, but a brilliant mind. So if you guys are ever bored on a Tuesday night, come tune in with us there. But Nick, what I wanted to point out here is from your website, the ORI team, it really hit me that, this is towards the top where you quoted Alan Watts that says, by replacing fear of the unknown with curiosity, we open ourselves up to an infinite stream of possibility. We can let fear rule our lives, or we can become childlike with curiosity, pushing our boundaries, leaping out of our comfort zones, and accepting what life puts before us.
Whew.
As soon as I saw that, it takes me back to one of my most favorite Bible quotes. I'll be the first to say I'm no Bible thumper, but in my line of work and what I focus on and look at, the Bible is huge.
Oh yeah.
So think about Matthew 18:3 states that, truly I tell you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And I think that that's just something that we all struggle with as, occult rejects. We're ones leaning into the hidden knowledge. Most people are not willing to do that because it's uncomfortable and because they don't want to humble themselves, right? They're brought up in a certain way. And it's very humbling to kind of reprogram yourself, right, as you're older, and really break down everything that you were taught growing up as a child, right? And I don't want to hijack the whole podcast, but I did put a couple slides here together just to kind of kick us off.
Go for it. It's your time, man. It's your time to shine. Go for it.
So I appreciate it, Nick.
Yeah, of course.
In the latest news in basketball, right? TJ and I are big ballers, right? We enjoy basketball a lot. Like we talked about offline, really what broke me into this work was the death of Kobe Bryant back in 2020, or the reported death, if you will. Whether or not he's actually dead, that's not really where I'm going with it, but that's what the news tells us.
Yo, I'll tell you right now, and this is a spoiler for people, and I'm being serious. I actually do think within another year or two, I'm going to fake my death for a week and then come back and prove that it's possible. I'm dead serious. Just so I can prove to motherfuckers you can fake your death and still be alive.
I'm with you.
I'm dead
Nick.
serious because I know how you can do it, and I'm going to probably do it.
Like literally, how many celebrities?
Dead on the fucking new on the internet news, at least.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I just want to throw that out there.
No, you're good. Just give me a heads up, Nick, so you don't scare the crap out of me.
I think co-rejects will know, just nobody else will.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the latest news, right? So I'm very new to the YouTube space. I was locked out of my Instagram page for about 2 months, which really just kind of forced my hand to start taking my content to another platform. And it's been a little uncomfortable. I had no idea how much really goes into live streaming and creating content on YouTube, as opposed to making some images or whatever. But the first video I ever did about a month ago was called Love is in the Air. And it was talking about my alma mater, Arizona, playing against Duke and Cooper Flagg. So if you guys aren't familiar with Cooper Flagg, he is the projected #1 overall pick in this year's upcoming NBA draft. Cooper Flagg.
Trump. I'm sorry. I'm like laughing looking at that picture of Trump.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I added that because don't forget, you guys, Donald Trump returned, right? Donald Trump returned, and he's born on Flag Day, if you guys didn't know that. And so you have Cooper Flagg, and then, by the way, let's go back to the Super Bowl for a second. Who won the Super Bowl? The Philadelphia Eagles, right? Pop quiz. What is the nickname for Philadelphia? The city of...
I'm saying your brotherly love, right?
Brotherly love, yeah. So you have the city of brotherly love win the championship this year, or the Super Bowl. If you guys watch that Super Bowl, I actually have one of my shorts on YouTube. I did a live stream the night before the Super Bowl, and I was talking about a player named Cooper DeJean. He's a defensive player for the Eagles. And sure enough, he had a pick six right before the Super Bowl halftime show. Okay? Cooper DeJean of Philadelphia. You have Cooper Flagg. Donald Trump, he was the first president to ever actually show face at a Super Bowl this last year, just so you guys know. Just think about the matchup, right? The commander-in-chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, the commander-in-chiefs, the president, right? Playing against Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. But Philadelphia is also home of the U.S. flag. That's where the flag was sewn first, at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia. So point is, I'll be the first to say humbly, I really liked the idea or the projection of Cooper Flagg potentially either being drafted by the Washington Wizards, right? Washington, or Philadelphia. That didn't happen. He ended up in Dallas. And it's crazy because they had a 1.8% chance of getting the #1 pick. And it happened. By the way, ritual equals 81 and 18. But Think about that. Dallas plays right down the street from Dallas Love Field. So now you have, with all these flag connections and all of the air connections that I've been on for a while now, and the Love connections, of course, Cooper Flag ends up playing in the American Airlines Center. American flag, you guys get it? See what I'm saying?
Oh.
And so just notice that Duke, like this is a color example. Duke has the same colors as the Mavericks. For those of you guys that don't know, in the NBA this year, the biggest news story was Luka Doncic being traded from Dallas, going to the Lakers. And I have a whole book, one of my latest books. It's the one called "They're After Me." We can dive into that in a little bit. But I touch on Luka a lot in that book, and this is way before the Luka news. But Luka means light, right? In other words, Luka has the connection to the star. The star is light, right? So he was the star in Texas. Texas has the lone star on their flag, and he ends up going to Hollywood, which is what? The home base of Hollywood stars, right? And so this is another example of just how comical and how perfectly scripted this kind of stuff is. There's no chance, 1.8% chance that Dallas gets the #1 pick right after Luka Doncic leaves. And here is Cooper Flag wearing the same colors as the Mavericks. He's holding a burning trident with banners right above his head. And if you guys aren't aware, back on March 8th of this year, there was a story where the band Disturbed, TJ, I'm sure you remember this story. Disturbed was playing a heavy metal concert at the United Center, and that's in Chicago where the Bulls play. And they had flames that were shooting up as they were playing a song, and the banners started burning. And this is a month after, on Michael Jordan's 62nd birthday, there was an upside down plane crash on his birthday on runway 23, right in front of Air Canada, right? And I've done some stuff on that as well. But yesterday, the announcement took place on 26 and 17 date numerology. Flag equals 26 and 17. Ordinal is just A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. And reduction is the same thing, but anytime you get a double digit.
17, man.
Yeah, so like for reduction, once you get to, J, for example, J is the 10th letter. Anyways, but once you get to the double digits, you just reduce it back to a single digit by adding the two together. So flag equals 2617, perfect day for the announcement of Cooper Flag essentially going to Dallas. But look at this, you guys. Look at this. When you measure from Cooper Flag's actual birthday, 2006, to the date that Donald Trump returned, right? His second inauguration. The same one where he didn't put his hand on the Bible this time. And now he's selling his own Bibles, but he didn't put his hand on the Bible. But in Sumerian, all that is A is 6, B is 12. So it's the same alphabetic order, but you multiply every value by 6. What are the odds that first pick equals 666? So does Blue Devils, that's the team that Cooper Flag played for. So does Cooper DeJean, who I was just talking about. Cooper DeJean, who had that pick 6 for Philadelphia right before the Super Bowl halftime show. Then you had Sam Jackson show up during the halftime show, dress up as Uncle Sam. Get this. Who created the image of Uncle Sam? I Want You, right?
Yeah.
James Montgomery Flag, spelt with 2 G's, and Sam Jackson has the same freaking birthday as Cooper Flag. So that's a whole other thing. But so this whole 666 connection, and then I guess to wrap up kind of the opener here, I'm going to give you guys an example of what I do on my Patreon and my Winnable pages for people that want to lean in and try to take advantage where they can of sports betting. So just last week, right, we had the news of Pope Leo, the first American Pope, be announced by the conclave. You and we were just talking about how Netflix released that show called Conclave shortly before the death of Pope Francis. And then now you have enter Pope Leo. By the way, the middle name, this guy's name isn't Pope Leo. Pope Francis, his name isn't Francis. It's Jorge Mario Bergoglio.
Yeah. You know, I wonder. I don't know if a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure Catholics and Christians do, but you know, people who aren't into that religion, those aren't their real names. That's the name they take when they become a pope. They have another name prior to that.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people
I
actually
think
don't know, so I'm just mentioning.
yeah, exactly. I think most people, surprisingly, will think Pope Leo. Oh, his name is Leo. No, it's not. His name is Robert Prevost. His middle name though is Francis. See what I'm saying? His middle name is Francis, and now he just took over for Pope Francis. But anyways, my point here is that so what I pointed out on my Winnable page, and I send this stuff out to my patrons and my followers before the game, and I put out my predictions. If you guys don't know anything about baseball right now, the White Sox are awful. They are terrible, which means any game you bet on them, they're going to have value for the most part. But what I point out here is, as I say, on the first full day of Pope Leo, the 14th, being the world's newest pope, who is from Chicago. He's been seen at White Sox games, you know, back in 2005 during the World Series. I pointed out, I said, hey, what are the odds that, you know, the White Sox, Pope Leo's hometown, pick up their 11th win of the season when Pope equals 11? And by doing so, the White Sox would stay on 11 home losses. Think about once the conclave stepped in to start voting for the new pope. The first day, there was black smoke that was released from the Vatican. And then the next day, it was white smoke, which told the world that they've selected a new pope. So think about black and white. Think about the White Sox, black and white, right? So to me, it was way less even about the numbers, even though it fell right there. But, you know, it's very house storybook, right? For the White Sox, where Pope Leo is a White Sox fan, to, you know, kick off the first full day of him being Pope with a win. See what I'm saying? So I'll take a pause or a breather there if you guys have questions or if you guys want to add on to anything else. But this is just kind of what I put together to kick it off.
Real quick, I just want to add for the people that might be listening right now, for some reason this thing was put under as it was okay for kids, and that's why there was no live chat. I just fixed it because somebody did hit me up saying, why isn't the live chat? So if people are watching now, you can actually add. The chat is there. I'm just retarded, sorry. All right, go ahead. Does anybody has any questions?
So how does this all, because I'm like learning still, and this will probably sound stupid, but how does this connect with the zodiac? Like, are you talking like Leo, Sagittarius, or are you talking like Chinese zodiac? How do they, like, what's the relationship?
Great question, Julia. First, I'll say I am no expert when it comes to the zodiac. I'm learning a lot and always learning more every day. But what I am learning too is that the zodiac is perfectly sitting above us, right? Which is why we all have our own signs and how powerful the zodiac is, in line with the calendar that they've created for us. But to your point about Pope Leo, think about this, you guys. Who is another really big name in Chicago besides Pope Leo now? And I'll just answer it. Barack Obama, right? The first black president, right? From Chicago, as they tell us. Well, he produced a movie last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Called Leave the World Behind. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that movie by chance?
I haven't gotten to yet. Nick, did you watch it?
Yeah, it was weird. It was definitely weird.
It was weird, right? It was kind of slow. It was weird. But Nick, so you watched it. You remember the scene when the ship crashes on shore?
Yes.
Do you remember what the name of that ship was called?
No, I don't actually.
The White Lion.
Oh, okay.
The White Lion. So we were just talking about the white smoke, the White Sox. Okay. But why lion? Why does lion matter? Well, Leo, according to the zodiac, is the lion. And the lion represents the sun. What else did we have recently? We had the death of, what's his name? James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones dies. He's the voice of Mufasa. And then you have the movie Mufasa come out right after that.
Shut up. That's dope as fuck. I wouldn't have put that together. Yeah.
He was also in a movie called The Sandlot. So if you guys if you guys remember that movie, well, what were the two teams that were referenced in that particular movie? There were two. He was a former player that played with Babe Ruth with the Yankees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kid loses the ball signed by Babe Ruth and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other team is the Dodgers, right? Benny the Jet Rodriguez ends up on the Dodgers. So why does that matter? Who was in the World Series last year? The Dodgers and the Yankees.
Oh my God, are you serious?
This is what I'm talking about.
Another thing about
I don't
every
keep
year.
up with sports, so that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
That's
well, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So Sippinen says, wasn't he Darth Vader? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. His death was huge.
Also, I don't know if it has anything to do with it with the symbology, but I mean, I know the word Yankee is the word Janus in Dutch is in there somewhere. Like I know that. Like if you play off that word, you know, there's in my opinion, Janus symbolism in that word Yankee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that.
Yeah. So Julie, I apologize if maybe that answer didn't kind of really hit your question on the head. But I'll say that I'm learning more and more every day about how important the zodiac is when it comes to just everything else that I'm learning. Right. So Rambo, who I was talking about earlier, I'll share with him some number alignments and I'll go, dude, look at this. And then he goes, that's perfect because right now is Virgo or whatever. And then it just like, it makes it so perfect.
Because so I'm sure you're familiar with this guy. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say one thing or the other because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on him, but it's Gary, the numbers guy or whatever. He was on Tinfoil Hat one time or something.
Never heard of him, actually.
Yeah, he does this kind of stuff, but and like people make fun of him all the time, but he like makes predictions about sports based on he'll be like, this year's the year of the dragon. So if you're, a dog sign, you shouldn't buy property this year. And then he'll do like a bunch of stuff with numbers, and then he'll sometimes end up actually being pretty fucking creepily accurate. But it makes me wonder because he'll do this thing where he'll like take people's names and then he'll like reduce it down to like a one basic number, like an 8 or an 11 or something like that. And he can make life predictions for you based off of whatever your life path is for that number. I mean, is this like the same kind of thing or is it totally separate?
That's like numerology. So that's like that's like, and Gematria is almost like a sub niche of numerology. There's still, it's all just numerology involved in that as well.
Very, very well said, TJ. Yeah. So numerology is strictly numbers. Gematria is that overlap, right? It's geometry within language. And it's that beautiful intersect of how our language, the words that we're speaking right now to communicate. Think about how powerful that is. Like for real. For us to express and exchange ideas through words. I mean, just sit in that for a second. Right? The whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I think they taught us that for a reason, to really kind of dilute how important our language is. It really is. And for people to just think, oh, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, why is it in that order? Oh, because it's catchy. Okay, but there's a million other ways that this alphabet could have been arranged and it could still be catchy. But when you really start looking at example after example after example, it's like, how is it so perfect every day? You have every day something in the news. You'll have a main name, and then I'll take that name, I'll punch it into the calculator, and all of a sudden their name matches up perfectly with either the way the date is written or the date numerology. But Kobe Bryant, for example, Kobe Bryant in Pythagorean equals 41. He died at age 41. The 13th prime number. Why does that matter? Well, LA equals 41 and 13. Who else was on that helicopter with Kobe? His daughter. How old was his daughter? 13. Perfect. He walked off the court in his final game with 4.1 seconds left on the clock. He took his last shot over number 41, Trey Lyles. You guys, he scored 60 points in his final game. The rest of his team scored 41. See what I'm saying? So 41's been around Kobe forever. And of course he exits the world stage at 41. And he even said for years that he wanted to die young so he can be immortalized. But then he's also a churchgoer, but he also has a 666 workout plan. Right? And we were talking about that.
just boggles my
Yeah,
mind that I had never heard of that before. That is crazy.
You guys want to hear another one?
Yeah.
You guys remember? You guys remember when LeBron James left Cleveland in the world of the NBA? Remember how big of a deal that was?
I was living in Cleveland at the time.
Oh, you
Everybody was
were.
losing their fucking shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw a lot of jerseys being burned, huh?
Yeah, my brother.
Oh, he did it too? So let's talk about LeBron James for a second, you guys. So LeBron James, where's he from?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, right? And of course, house storybook. He gets drafted by his hometown, Cleveland. What was the very first game he played? What was the team he played against?
Ooh.
The Sacramento Kings. King James,
Ooh.
now entering the NBA for his very first time as an 18-year-old kid. You mean to tell me he's playing against the frickin' Kings? Come on. Out of 29 other teams, of course he plays against the Kings, right? Well, so Cleveland, right? What's their mascot? The Cavaliers, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't say the Browns. Gross.
They're the Cavaliers. Now, who were the Cavaliers when we think about history? The Cavaliers served King Charles, who was the son of the real King James. Okay? Hence LeBron King James, who played his first game ever against the Kings. Okay? Follow me? So LeBron left Cleveland, right? And then he went to the Heat and everyone hated him. And then he comes back, right? The whole return theme. And then everyone loves him again. He's coming back to his hometown. And then who did he end up playing against for 4 straight finals? Well, the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry has an incredible connection with LeBron James. And he's perfectly knitted with Kobe and Michael Jordan. I'll just tell you that right now. But let's stay on track. So LeBron comes back. And he ends up winning a championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? That was the same year that Donald Trump was elected. That was the same year that the Chicago Cubs, after a 108-year drought, defeated the Cleveland Indians in Game 7. But once again, let's stay focused. LeBron James, in that particular NBA Finals, they were down 3-1. I mean, like in the series, you got to win 4 games, right? They were down 3-1. Their next loss, they're out. They're over. They lose the championship. That was against the Warriors, who were 73-9 in the regular season. That's never happened before. Okay, I mean, they didn't even lose 10 games all season, and they have a 3-1 lead with LeBron against LeBron. What happened? Storybook. LeBron ends up winning the next 3 games. Okay, but here's the kicker. Here's the mic drop. Game 7. Game 7 was, what was it? June 19th, 2016. Nick, you can pull this up or show if you want or whatever, if we don't have to. But what are the odds that that is the real King James's birthday?
Shut up.
June 19th, LeBron James comes back down 3-1 to beat the Warriors, playing for the Cavaliers, and he comes back and wins on the real King James's birthday. Yes, that is June.
Shut the fuck.
I also
up.
want to point.
Juneteenth.
What?
That's
I also want to
Juneteenth.
point out that
It still goes back to a white guy, doesn't it?
what's
Fuck.
what's extra crazy about that in the NBA, that's only happened like where a team in the playoffs has come back from down 3-1 has only happened like 2 or 3 times. Like it never happens in sports for a team to come back.
TJ, I don't think it's ever happened, at least in the finals, right?
No.
I think that was the first time ever in the finals, like the championship series. But yeah, to your point, Teach, absolutely. I mean, it just impossible. If these games were real, there's no way that would have happened. But if you look ahead and you understand how, history does overlap with all of this stuff, and LeBron ain't no Joe Schmo. Everyone at least has heard his name. If you know that, they're down 3-1. The odds on Cleveland winning are slim to none, meaning you could bet on them to win the next 3 games, every single game, and you're going to make a lot of money. And then when you find out, you go, oh my God, you guys, Game 7 is on the real King James's birthday. Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me that that's not going to happen? See what I'm saying? That was one of the most mind-blowing
That is
examples I've ever
wild.
seen. Yeah.
Literally wild. That is so fucked.
And
I should
he
start
mentioned-
keeping like an eye on these birth dates of all these old occultists
Oh,
that
yeah.
we cover. Like I always
Sweet.
cover their birth dates and their deaths, but I don't keep it like on hand. I should start paying attention to this shit.
Nick, do
Speaking
you
of-
know the founding date of the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati?
Oh, isn't that like 17 somethings in the 17th or some shit like
November.
Well, it's 1776, but it's May 1st.
that? Oh,
And that's funny. And that's funny because that's Gianna Bryant's birthday. So it's Kobe Bryant's daughter who died with him. She has the same birthday as the Illuminati. What a quinky dink. You know what I mean? I can go on forever about this stuff.
Yes, that's a thing that like I think we've even like wondered. And I know this maybe makes it a little bit more conspiratorial, and it even makes, I guess, this whole number thing is a little bit more woo woo. But like we've even wondered before, like especially with birthdays. Do you think it's ever possible that these people like maybe like kind of maybe weren't really born on that day? Would you kind of say like a day or two later?
I think
could have-
100%. 100%.
I think
Or
it's the
maybe they get
opposite.
like C-sections on certain days
Yes,
to make
no,
sure
it's-
the child is born.
That's what I think. I think it's the opposite, where I think it's no, they're doing sex rituals, trying to land it on a certain day.
Well, and what I'll tell you this too. So, Nick, you were asking about Carl Weathers really quick. So I wrote a book called The Hand, and that was right before last year's Super Bowl. How Carl Weathers died, and for me, it tied everything into Happy Gilmore. Because when I think of Carl Weathers, I think of him playing Chubbs Peterson in Happy Gilmore. And then sure enough, Bob Barker died. He was also in that movie. I released this book. I do a live stream. And then 3 days later, they announced the death of Joe Lafferty, another actor of that movie. And then they announced that they're making a Happy Gilmore too, including Travis Kelce, who I wrote about in that book as well. But
I love that movie, by the way. It's like one of my faves.
yeah, well, in Carl Weathers, he actually played in the NFL. He was a Raider, and last year's Super Bowl was in Raiders Stadium. So, I don't want to get off topic, but these deaths that happen are all they're all intertwined. But I guess to answer your question, Nick, when I wrote that book about Carl Weathers, they said that he died on February 1st. And then when I went back to revisit some things, literally 2 weeks ago, I saw that they changed it to February 2nd. I have the screenshots and everything showing that it was April 1st, but now they're telling you it's April 2nd. Think about Travis Scott. Remember the Travis Scott Astro World tragedy? What happened exactly 1 year later to the day? The Astros win the freaking World Series on the 1 year anniversary of the Astro World Travis Scott tragedy. But they changed his birthday a whole year. They used to say it was like 92, then they just moved it back a whole year. So you take all of that with a grain of salt. I mean, did LeBron James was he actually born on December 30th? Doubtful. You know what I mean? I just feel like, they put these numbers in place to stamp on them to fulfill the rituals. But
if
So
I may,
have-
if I may,
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to point out that the Eastern Taoists and Buddhists also have the child mind approach as a kind of really important philosophy in kind of looking at things in an unbiased manner. And I love using the comparative often with the East and West or any number of numerological things. And I think using whether it be Western or Chinese astrology, kind of putting it alongside with the Gematria findings, you can consider that a comparative system as well. And to that, I was thinking earlier today about I'm obsessed with 4, and I was thinking about a set of 4 as applied to Gematria, which this set of 4 is from the Zohar, which is also esoteric, Kabbalic, kind of probably has a lot of numerology and Gematria in it that is obscure or subtle. But this idea of the 4 pards or the 4 modes to paradise is said to be applied to different biblical lessons or stories. But I think if it's considered an application to gematria, it really kind of puts almost columns to the different ways we might interpret things or use these comparative ideas. The 4 modes to paradise are literal and allegorical and comparative, of course, and secretive. So any number of things could kind of fall into these 4 ways to add on or interpret number systems. So I just wanted to share that because I found it kind of an interesting way to kind of add interpretation levels.
Yeah.
Oh, and
sorry, go ahead.
No. I just had a question that was maybe irrelevant and different pertaining to your book cover. So maybe go ahead. Tell me.
Oh no, I was just going to piggyback on 4. Right, we talked about this offline right before we jumped on the live about how 4 is heavily associated with the word death, right, in Mandarin. And so shout out to Sipanon for putting that in the comments. Right, we were just talking about that. That's why Kobe Bryant dropped to number 4 in all-time scoring, being passed by LeBron James wearing a Lakers jersey, doing so in Philadelphia, where Kobe Bryant is reportedly from, the night before he died. Think about that. The number 4, right? He dropped to number 4. It's kind of like unlucky 13 out here, right? At least in the US, how people don't talk about the 13th floor. It's the same idea with the number 4, especially in the Mandarin culture. 4 is heavily associated with death.
And 13 is 4, right?
There you go. Exactly. And then you can climb it back up 41, 4-1, the 13th prime, break it down to 4, right?
I think there is definitely many parts of China and other Asian countries that they skip the 4th floor, just like many Western buildings skip the 13th floor, like you were saying.
Let me, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to add that it is symbolic of death, I think, because it's symbolic of completion too, right? And that's a big part of the 4 as well. Just wanted to add on that.
No, absolutely. Hey Nick, I just had an idea. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. Since we're talking about the number 4, and Julia, I think you'll get a kick out of this. Let me know that you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're at the Gematrinator. So check this out. When we talk about the number 4, notice that execution equals 44. Pythagorean. So that's just breaking down every double-digit value of a letter into a single digit by adding them together. So you have execution that equals 44. What else equals 44? Shooting. Same cipher. Right? What else we got? Military. 44.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, geez.
Fucking military.
Actually, you know what I need to do? I'm going to pull up my book, Fool's Gold. Right, Nick, I know you're interested in talking a little bit more about like the Nuggets and the Joker, but look at this. Oh my God, you guys are going to love this.
I was going to say you should type in KILL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Here. Kill, 44. Perfect.
17.
Yeah, and 17. By the way, just so you guys know, every single month, there's always a date that has this exact date numerology. 44, 17, 64, and 28. This actually had the date numerology last year in July was the date of the Donald Trump, him getting shot in the ear. It was on the kill date numerology of this.
What?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Shut up.
Hold on, we're
He's
going to
got
keep
the 8s and the 2s in his text too.
You know what's funny? We're live right now at 44 minutes, so this is perfect. So let me get oh shoot, there we go.
And even kind of connecting to the Joker too, Heath Ledger's birthday is April 4th, 4/4.
That it is. TJ, you already beat me to it. So check this out.
Sorry.
Check this out. Can you guys see it?
I don't see anything. Oh wait,
Sorry.
hang on. Yep, now I got
there
it.
we go. Yeah.
So look at this. So let's talk. Okay, so this is from my book called Fool's Gold, and I wrote this right after the Nuggets won the championship back in 2013. We were talking about how that happened right after the release date of the movie The Joker. Just so you guys know, think about this. explosive Joker sequel scene to be filmed outside of Trump grand jury courthouse. This was back when he was, being tried for, all the money scandal stuff. Don't forget that Donald Trump called himself Batman multiple times on a helicopter. Don't forget that he. Sorry,
real quick. I want to bring this up because now maybe this is something where I've been going on. I'm like, what the fuck is the point of him always mentioning Gus Bilirakis? He did it last time when he was running, and he did it this time since he's been elected. He mentions Gus Bilirakis, and when you look him up, we covered him on our Justice series. That guy got disqualified for running one time because his opponent found out he used his fucking campaign money to pay his Royal Order of the Jester dues with it, and he got disqualified. The guy was just looking for an easy way to beat his opponent. And this guy has twice now, since he's been president, has made sure he points out, thanks, and tells the guy to stand up. Gus Bilirakis. He is in the Royal Order of the Jesters.
No, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
Oh my God.
They're also he's also a Jesuit. Trump went to Jesuit educated Fordham. Joe Biden, he's from Jesuit, Pennsylvania. But speaking of Joe Biden, think about this in the Batman connections. You guys know that Joe Biden's middle name is Robin Et.
Is it?
Yeah, Robinette. His middle name's Robinette. So think about that. The Batman Robin connections there.
Yeah. And it's like, of course, he would be the little bitch boy,
Yeah, he was childlike. That's a childlike version.
Yeah, he likes to sniff them too.
Well, and here's what I wrote here, you guys. Look, I said Batman and Robin, right? Think about that. I said, despite calling himself Batman, Donald Trump has also been commonly referred to and depicted as the Joker, right? Particularly by his critics, where the latest Joker movie was released during his presidency. So there was a lot of news back at that time when this movie released. Trump screamed Joker at the White House and he liked it. He defends the immigration ban as the Joker is coming out, all that stuff, They've really depicted him as Batman and the Joker several times.
And the Joker equals 92. Joe Biden's birthday numerology is 92.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But let's go back to the. Sorry, go ahead, Teach.
Because I did a whole presentation on the Joker enigma kind of thing, and it traces back to the Joker card, traces back to a game called Euchre. And the wild card in the game Euchre was called the Trump card. So it's all connected to that. And the same week before Trump got elected, a sports commentator named Bob Euchre died, who was a very well-known sports commentator kind of thing. So they're putting it in our face if we know where to look for kind of thing.
Yeah, truth truly is stranger than fiction, you guys. When you guys lean into stuff like this and you guys really start paying attention. I mean, TJ, you remember that stabbing story in the heart, the brothers in Texas? It was Carmelo Anthony was this guy who stabbed this other high schooler on the track. Did you see that? And then the same day, Carmelo Anthony of the NBA gets inducted in the NBA Hall of Fame. Are you serious? It really is stranger than fiction. But let's get back to this 44 thing here really quick. Julia, I think you're going to really like this. So we were talking about how at the end of the Joker movie, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen the first Joker and plan on it, hit the mute button. But at the very end of the movie, the Joker shoots, I think his name was Murray Franklin, played by Robert De Niro. De Niro. Dinero is money, right? But so the whole Murray Joker thing, think about Joaquin Phoenix, right? Anyways, let me get to the 44s. Look at this. So Nikola Jokic, aka the Joker, this guy right here, his birthday is exactly 44 days before Heath Ledger's birthday, who played the Joker in The Dark Knight. And Heath Ledger, Nick, I think he's, or maybe it was you, TJ, just pointing out that Heath Ledger was born on April 4th, 4/4. So look at this.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So look at this. Heath Ledger born or date of birth 4/4. You measure from Nikola Joker Jokic's birthday, it's 44 days. And look at the 44s, you guys. Kill, mass shooter, firearms, shooting, military, execution, assault rifle, spiritual 440, bullets 44, At Large 44, Snipers 44. You guys.
Oh my God.
Can I
This is
just
44
point out that Orwell started 1984 on with the character saying it was a bright, cold day in April, and it is April 4th that he starts it on.
Of course.
Wait,
Crazy.
Ethan, what was that?
The book by Orwell, 1984.
Uh-huh.
It begins, I believe, or at least it's one of the main sentences. It was a bright, cold day in April, and it's April 4th.
Yeah. Oh shit. So all of this is like on purpose. Like dates, words, it's all like a big spell.
Yeah, it's like
Kind of.
fabricating reality.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. Wow, that is so crazy to me. Because I know, obviously, as a conspiracy theorist myself, that numbers matter and they are significant. But like I said, I never have gotten like into gematria enough to like educate myself about how crazy the synchronicities are.
Well,
It
Julia,
makes me,
once you, so sorry, really quick, just once you lean
yeah.
into the basics, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, utilize a tool like the Gematrinator, just start playing around with it. You'll get more familiar with it. And literally every single day, whether it's sports, news, politics, science, doesn't matter, they're releasing these types of stories on the days that they are. They're putting names in there on these days for reasons, you know?
And they know that they're going to be social media trends. They know that they're going to be pumped out and stuff. I noticed they'll know that something like might go viral the next day. I noticed that they do that kind of thing so that they get everybody talking about it the day after, because it's like kind of shocking news and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's very orchestrated. Yeah, it's crazy.
Purposeful.
Yeah.
Well, so I think I asked Nick about this before. I asked our friend Sean McCann several times about this, but I kept finding that a lot of plane crashes went down throughout history, or just major tragedies in general, in association with the number 8. So I don't know if you could kind of enlighten me on what that could mean, but I've hit up a couple people asking them why the number 8 would be so significant, because it was either it happened on an 8 day, or it happened in August, and the 8 just kept coming up over and over again in my research. And I would say, what the fuck is going on with the 8? Because I feel like it just keeps popping up for me. And going all the way back to like Jack the Ripper, it was 1888. He started on August 8th, was the first victim. And I was like, why does every time I do research, crazy shit pops up with all these 8s? So I don't know,
kind of
if you
answer that
guys
short form a little bit. 8 is a number
Yeah.
for Saturn, and there's a lot of Saturn worship.
Oh
Simply
shit.
put. And then, yeah, I think that sums it up. Like, short story is that it has to do with Saturn a lot, and Saturn has to do with death and cycles and that
Mhm.
whole thing. So
This is kind of what I was going
Yeah.
to ask you about your covers too, and I was going to say too, it's 4 pair, right? 8 is 4 pairs. But with your book covers, I noticed there's at least 3 8s on your. If I'm projecting because of my fascination with 8, but I noticed you had a lot of 8s on your book covers.
Yeah, especially with my Kobe books, right? So Julia, and by the way, Nick, I tried to share my screen. I'm just pivoting over to. No, you're good. My book called Forever Young. This is because Kobe Bryant said he wanted to die young because he wanted to be immortalized. But just think about to kind of piggyback off of what TJ was saying, just think about how the 8 represents the snake and the whole symbolism of the snake eating itself, essentially. Right. And then
the infinity symbol.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a huge symbolic number, but very much so with Kobe Bryant. You know what's funny is just 2 days ago, I had a buddy of mine point out to me a clip of Kobe before he was even drafted back in the day, and they were asking him why he likes the number 8. And he said he was at some camp and he was given the number 143. So like in these recruitment camps, they'll just stamp a big number on you and you go play, and then recruiters will write your number down. He goes on to talk about how he was number 143 and how if you add those together, it comes out to 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting is that Kobe Bryant's birthday is August 24th.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Sorry, August 23rd, right? 8/23. What are the odds that 823 is the 143rd prime number? You see what I'm saying? So he was strictly talking about the number 143, and then when you start understanding this world of numbers and letters, and you see that 823, Kobe's birthday, is the 143rd prime number. That's exactly why he was talking about that number.
Yeah.
It was decades ago. See what I'm saying? That this isn't brand new information.
Oh, no, you don't have to tell me. I get it. They're always using the 8 for something. I started thinking that it had to be something to do with Leo because August is Leo, and then maybe that's, like I was saying before, the weird like zodiac and number connection is the 8 in the Leo thing.
Well, Leo could have been in a certain house at that time. You could be right.
Right, something like that,
Absolutely.
Somebody that I'm curious if you've ever looked into as well would be John Denver, because that guy has 3s surrounding his entire life. He died in a plane crash, supposedly, and he's my Kobe. I don't know if you've ever looked into him in any detail, but he's definitely my Kobe, and he's got some crazy numbers that follow him all throughout his life, 3 in particular.
So, Julia, I'm about to blow your freaking mind right now.
Shut up.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
No.
I don't think you're ready for this.
I don't think I am. Oh my god.
You're the one that brought up John Denver. My live stream, I did, it was either yesterday or the week before. With Rambo, right? The weekly live I do on my YouTube now. Going back to sports. Okay. In the MLB, Ethan, TJ, Nick, let me know if you guys remember this story. There's 2 stories, actually. John Denver, okay? There was a story about John Elway. Does anybody here remember this story about John Elway very recently?
No.
No? That's okay. That's okay. I just want to make sure if there's anybody that is aware. Let me do this really quick.
But he did play for the Denver Broncos, in case people didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why I'm bringing it up. So John Elway is John Denver. There is no bigger name in the world of sports when it comes to Denver than John Elway. Okay? John Denver, John Elway. What I'm going to do is really quick, just for viewers. Sorry, Nick, I know I'm relying on you to give me the access here.
Oh, here we go.
But you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see now.
Okay, so all I did was search John Elway news. For those that aren't aware, here's what happened very recently. This is 2 weeks old. Recent news regarding John Elway includes the tragic death of his agent and business partner, Jeff Spurbeck, in a golf cart accident on April 26th. So John Elway was apparently on a golf course with his agent. John Elway was driving. There were some other people on the cart as well. And the cart flipped. And the agent, Jeff Spurbeck, died. Okay. So he didn't die. Supposedly. Exactly. Not one picture.
Died in a golf cart accident?
Yeah.
Oh.
He busted him upside the head with a club and buried his body somewhere near the fucking.
I would hope that's like a 100-foot cliff they drove off of for that to happen.
I think it's safe to say whatever did happen, it's not what they're telling us. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. At least we can agree on that.
So
they're probably found in the sand pit too. So
exactly. Let's see here. Hold on. Yeah. So it's all over the news, you guys. So John Elway was driving this car. His ex-agent dies. But please go back and watch my live stream with Rambo this past week and the week after, because we talk in great detail about John Denver specifically. Here's why. There was that news. And then we have fan falls from stands during Pirates Galen. So this was on the anniversary of the Church of Satan, by the way, founded on April 30th. But look at this.
Damn.
A Pittsburgh Pirates fan fell from the bleachers onto the field during a game against the Chicago Cubs. The fan, later identified as 20-year-old Kavan Markwood, suffered a serious injury, including a brain injury. All right. You ready for the mic drop, Julia?
Yeah.
I just saw it already.
Shoot.
I saw it too. Oh my god.
Hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
You got it.
Kind of. It's got
Okay, hold
like
on. Let me get it back. Let me get it back. Hold on. Look at this.
Yeah, I think the way you had the photo open, it wasn't showing correctly.
Look at this, you guys. Look at this.
I already got the song in my head.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here we go. Look. Here we go. He fell right in front of this sign.
my
Country
God.
roads take me home.
Country roads take me home. Oh
Look,
my
it was
god.
right in front of Country Roads Take Me Home. So we were talking all about how the John Elway story falls right in line with this story. Okay.
Wow.
And
Holy shit.
Did I say any Gematria yet? No.
No, actually, no.
No.
But still the sign. It's like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. It's not all just Gematria and numbers. I mean, what I'm learning is that when you focus on this very in your face, so simple stuff, the numbers always follow, right, TJ?
Every time.
When you already see the connections, you know that when you start diving into the numbers, that it's going to line up every time. But look
So
at
the numbers are gonna probably blow my mind even more, I'm guessing, right?
well, what I touched on in that live with Rambo was I took a look at the name of the fan, okay?
Mm.
And I punched it into Gematria because immediately I was thinking of the Pirates. They have the skull and bones symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with the skull and bones.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so they're established in Yale University. That's why
Mhm.
on March 22nd, 322, the number of skull and bones last year, Yale upset the Tigers on 322, while Yale was 322 years old during March Madness last year.
Woo!
But
That is crazy.
my point is the name of the fan in 2 of the 4 base ciphers of Gematria matches skull and bones.
322.
Well, not the number 322, but it overlaps 149 and 202. So the fan's name is 149-202, just like Skull and Bones. And it happened in Pittsburgh, Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Think about the snake. We're in the year of the snake. Snake Pittsburgh, right? So
Pittsburgh, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no. So since you were asking about John Denver, I thought this was a good opportunity to really share with you. This is very recent news, by the way. This was like last week.
It's almost as if like, and I did not know you covered that, but it just popped into my head to ask you if you had looked into him at all, because the episode I did on him, it was like threes were just like shooting out, and I can't even remember. Do you remember what day he died on? That might be significant. I think it was like July, maybe.
Let me take a look. John Denver death date.
Supposedly, right?
Yeah,
Just like Kobe.
Yeah, his reported death is October 12th, 97.
October. Wow, I was way off. October what?
October 12th. 112
So there's a
in
3,
numerology.
right? 12, 1 and 2 is 3. There's another 3, right?
Yes,
Yep.
it's 20.
You know, I just thought of this. So when you think of October 12th,
Oh, somebody said he died on Crowley's birthday.
did he?
Think about that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, John Denver is a candy store of conspiracy when you really get into him.
I'm going to give you guys the
first time I
simplest
heard
example.
that from you, Julie. I think you might have told me that like years ago.
About John Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I tell everybody I can that how weird he was. And like, I actually just met a guy recently said that John was actually transgender, that he was actually Joan Denver. And that's why he could never have kids with his wife, and he had such a high-pitched voice and such feminine features because he was a tranny.
He's taking some
So
stuff.
speaking of 10/12, right? October 12th, 10/12. In numerology, the 0 means nothing. So you can just slash it out. So 10/12 is equivalent to 112
Oh,
or
I see.
112, right?
Things.
So Julia, this is how simple it is sometimes. Simplest cipher: A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. Mathematics equals 112. Why would you think I'm emphasizing that mathematics equals 112? It's right in front of your face.
Yeah,
Just
1
think
plus
about
1
it.
is 2.
There you go. Exactly. What else is 112? Catholicism. Judaism, I think, is in reverse.
Why does it say satanic at the bottom with like some weird?
Yeah, no.
It's
So
a
that
cipher.
was a different cipher I had open. So it's it was kind of a default there. But yeah, look. Oh yeah, look at that. Judaism 322, skull and bones. We were just talking about it.
Oh God.
But it's also 112.
Satanic 322.
Yep.
Scary.
Yeah, it's occult knowledge, right? There's a reason why they're keeping this from us. But man, am I having fun sharing this with you guys? I mean,
I'm learning a lot.
That's another thing I do want to mention real quick before we go on to something else. I'm not trying to wrap it up. I just wanted to mention this, and I wanted to say it earlier. And again, you're even saying they're keeping occulted knowledge from us. You know, Gematria, there's different ways of even doing that, to where it's like the first letter of every word in a sentence starts to mean something, or even the first and last letter of a word. And the reason why you're like, what is all these things coming from? It's because somebody designed it like that. It's not like, oh, like somebody just like found some stuff on a piece of paper and said, oh, you know, this is what Gematria is, and we're just gonna run with this, and it's just silly stuff, and we're just mind fucking ourselves. No, this stuff was designed like this for a reason. You know, it was to keep shit hidden.
But do you think it's like the chicken or the egg though? Because it's
yeah, that's what I think. I think some might work out where it's, I guess, the chicken, but then the egg, I think, is when people do it on purpose.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it almost makes you wonder with the chicken or the egg thing if certain words and our alphabet weren't designed to correspond with the energy of that specific number.
That's
so
right.
that when we speak the words English, they actually produce some type of vibration that affects the physical world, you know?
I probably thought that about the English language. He
100%.
thought it was magical. He thought it was
magical. Yeah. Like even the word magical, like if you looked it up, like what would it be? Like what's the energy behind it? Like to me, that's where my mind is going, is like everything we say is some kind of like, that's why the Bible says like don't speak it into existence. And I say that all the time. Like I said, oh, I feel like I'm getting sick. It's like, oh, don't speak that into existence, because your words literally can bring things about into the physical world. So I don't know. I find it extremely fascinating.
With the English language, there's way more words in English than any other language. Like substantially, like more than double any other language kind of thing. There's way more words.
I've heard that.
Nick, yeah. I just wanted to share this. So where does Kabbalah come from? It stems from Jewish mysticism. Okay, where in the Sefer Yetzirah, it's also known as the Book of Formation, one of the opening paragraphs of the Sefer Yetzirah says, God created the world using numbers, letters, and words.
Numbers, letters, and codes?
And words.
And words.
Yep.
And that was something I was going to mention too. When we, I know Lisa had even noticed this when we were covering true crime a bunch with just a lot of stuff with Gematria. There was a couple of cases that we covered with true crime, and for some of the weirdest thing is that you start getting the same numbers popping up.
Well, fuck yeah!
I thought it was just really weird how, like, I think it was kind of what you were saying, Julia, and you know, even I think Ball was saying, AJ. I do think there's like sometimes it's almost just like that's like the mathematics that's going to bring on what just happened, and that's why I'm saying numbers with horrific crimes and killings.
And think about the Bible. Creation. God spoke.
Yeah, I was going to say
God
that.
was the Word, and the Word was God. See,
Mhm,
like the word is attached to God in the opening of the Bible. And God spoke the world into existence. Kind of like what you were saying, Julia, about there is power in our words and us actually speaking and being positive and speaking affirmations and speaking things into existence,
like
but doing it in
speaking
a good way.
life.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So I know you were saying, oh, creepy, yeah. There's a lot of really creepy shit with this kind of stuff. But like
Mhm.
what I
If it's-
really appreciate about Nick and TJ and just kind of the way you guys go about things, I so lean into it because it's like there is light in the darkness. And in a way, you
Mhm.
gotta like have fun with it. But more people are just like, no, that's Satan's juju, it's bad, this and that. It's like it doesn't have to be that way. We
May
can
I
have,
ask?
agree.
yeah.
May I ask on a related topic on the Word of God and so forth? Maybe you guys have TJ and AJ. Maybe you guys have both explored this before. I just looked it up. I think the Hebrew gematria of this word tetragrammaton. It said it was 26, and then you said April 26, and I was like, oh, what? There's a 26. But I wanted to see what you guys explored with or found with the tetragrammaton, maybe in English, maybe in Hebrew, whichever. I just
Well,
want to see.
Ethan, all I will add to that, there's a lot to be said about the tetragrammaton, but you mentioned 26, right? God, simplest cipher, G plus O plus D equals 26, simplest cipher. Okay. There's a reason why when we talk about our English alphabet, how many letters are in our alphabet?
26.
26.
Is
How
that
many bones are in the body? How many bones are in the body? 206.
But would you add those together and take it down to the 8?
You could, yeah, you could, absolutely.
Okay, because I
Absolutely.
was gonna say sometimes I like to do that, like get down to the smallest number,
Goes
and I
back to
feel
the
like that
infinity, right?
the fucking 8 pops back up when you do
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that with
Kobe
like
Bryant.
with
Kobe Bryant. He died on what? The 26th day of the year. Bryant
right.
equals
1, 2,
26.
6. Like
Jordan equals 26. Yeah, the 26 is huge when it comes to God and creation. And I feel in a way the reason why they're keeping all this from us is because in ways, especially when it comes to news and sports and everything else that's occupying the mind's eye of the masses, they're playing God over our lives. See what I'm saying? Like they're doing it every day. But yeah.
There is a true crime case, Nick. I know you'll be familiar with this one that uses 26 a lot. And that's John Benet Ramsey. And I've talked to you about my theories with John Benet as from a conspiratorial realm. And there's a lot of 26 in there. So I do feel like they use these numbers on purpose to it's almost like it has to happen on this day because of what it means, like why it's significant.
I agree with that.
I honestly wonder what her name would be. Because she's got a weird name. And I've always said I never understood why her mom named her that. John Benet. I know it's supposed to be like after her dad or something like that, but it's such a unique name, you know? Like, I wonder if her name equals the same as sacrifice or something like that.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, think too about just different news stories. Sometimes, let's say there's a shooting in the news or something. A lot of times they'll put the shooter's name out there first and last, but then sometimes they'll put the full name first, middle, and last. Sometimes they'll put the middle initial. A lot of times, I'll tell you this, when they put quotation marks in a headline, they're telling you, look at this phrase, look at this word, right? When they're quoting it out especially on the headline, you'd be amazed. Like that is a really low key way of them telling you, we're releasing this at this time for this reason, go find it,
Or, it's like, why do they use certain serial killers' middle names, but not other ones like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer? But then you get like a lot of them, John Wayne Gacy. Why does he get his middle name? You almost wonder, like, why are some having the middle name and some are not?
It's because
why are some names shortened? Because his name was Theodore Bundy, but they called him Ted. And like there is just a lot with fucking nicknames. Do you think when you get married, it alters, and you change your last name, it alters like your life path? Because I've heard that.
Perhaps.
Yeah, it does change a bit for sure. Like it would. You're numerically now connected to something a little different. And then like it's in this kind of field, it's like, is this of God? Is this holy? Is this a synchronicity? Or is this like a rigged thing? For me, my full name equals 187. I'm born on the 187th day of the year.
Beautiful.
Right? Like,
Beautiful.
and
That's
so it's like,
wild,
and that
yeah.
number shows up a ton in my life and stuff. It's crazy.
Yo, the shit that comes up when I run my name is I don't even want to fucking talk about it. It's actually
Are you a
Well,
serial killer, Nick? I fucking knew it.
no, but the occult shit is just like fucking off the hook.
I will say Nick is
weirded me
Nick's kind of intimidating, man. When I first saw Nick, I was like, oh man, I don't want to mess with this guy.
Oh, stop.
But no,
I
hey,
did
really
too.
quick.
The first time I saw his or listened to his podcast, I was like, this guy is probably an
Crazy.
asshole.
No, but no, Nick, you're the best, man. But hey, you guys, let's keep it really simple.
Also, calm down.
Think about the word belief. What's weird about the word belief? Just take a look at it. Spell it out. There's another word in there.
Little lie.
Veil?
Lie. Oh, veil?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Lie is
think of it
right
as,
in the middle. Lie is right in the middle of belief.
That's-
Lie.
Be lie.
So for me, I hate that word. Like anytime I see myself saying it, I go, no, I don't believe. I feel within my heart. I think. I will never use that word believe intentionally because of that. There's a reason why the word believe has lie right in the freaking middle of the word. And then everybody is going to say, well, I believe this and I believe that. Oh yeah, well, there's lie right in the middle of that word that you're using. But nobody really goes deeper than that. You know what I mean? They're just going to use the language and the letters that they were given, not ask questions, and then come attack me using those words, not knowing where it's coming from, saying that I'm an idiot. Saying that like all that stuff.
No, I'm with you. I feel like a lot of words are weird like that, like good morning. A lot of people don't like to say good morning because that word is and I feel like English is one of those weird languages where many words mean different things, and they could even be spelled different but they sound the same, or sometimes they're even spelled the same but they mean two completely different things. And I tried to learn Arabic, writing it and speaking it, and it's you would think it would be impossibly hard, but it's way easier, I think, than English would be, because we have such inflection and like weird slang terms that like they don't even understand. I think they don't even have cuss words really in Arabic. It's like your mom milks goats or something. It would be like a diss for them, but you know what I'm saying? It's like our language is so complex. And I think, we take it for granted.
Hey guys, really quick, I got to step out for like 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. There we go.
I wanted to point out about the word belief. I love his breakdown of it. Yeah. And I think of it as being the leaf. Don't be the leaf and blow in the wind. You want to be the tree, right? Like belief is like you're just amorphous. You have no principle. And I love that too, Julia, with the words that mean different things. My least favorite is raise a building or raise a building to the ground, right? I think they're spelled differently.
What?
But
that's the same word?
They're used. One is used to build up and one is used to destroy down, I believe.
Yeah. What are they called? Idioms? No, that's not what they're called. Is it? Am I stupid?
Synonyms? No, not synonyms either, but
not synonym. I think idioms is like the same word in multiple languages.
Are you looking for like the same phonetic? Like it has the same phonetic sound, but they're
like morning and morning, like good morning homonyms. And like dead body morning.
Yeah, homonyms.
Homonyms. Yeah, that's what it is. Homonyms. Oh, there goes Teresa because she's smarter than me.
One of the most.
I'm an idiom.
And One thing, because you're asking about like the astrology and that kind of thing. So, like he said, me and AJ, it's like AJ, TJ. We both played basketball. We're both like big into it. We're both like sports bettors. I've been betting on sports since I was like a little kid and stuff. And I've been into astrology since I was a kid. It's like kind of my main thing, even though like numerology has taken the forefront of that. I used to use astrology to bet on sports. And then when I got into numerology, I started using numerology. And then I found BallDontLie in like 2020. Like we both had 100 followers and like whatever. And I've known it. And I'm like,
So
what? There's this guy
similar.
exists? Like, yeah. And yeah, so it's just it's all connected.
Well, do you follow like, I guess it would be Western astrology then, like with the zodiac, or do you do the Chinese too?
All of it. It's all like part of it. It's all like the symbology, but like, yeah, like the Western astrology. And it's not even about like for me, it's about like the lesson that the wheel is teaching us more than like, oh, I'm a Pisces, so I act this way or whatever. Like,
right.
It's more about like, what is the lesson and the symbology of it all kind of thing.
But do you think it impacts your personality?
Yes. 100%.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like I hate to say it because I talked shit about it for so many years. Oh, zodiac. But I really do feel like a Sagittarius most of my day, every day. I mean, I meet people sometimes and I'm wrong about them. I'll meet somebody and I'll be like, for sure, they're a Capricorn. They're such an asshole. But then they'll be like, no, I'm actually an Aquarius. And then you're, thrown off by it. But I do feel like in some way it impacts, because the moment at the time you're born, like whatever the stars you're born under, it has to influence you a little bit.
That's your fingerprint. That's your cosmic fingerprint.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But then at the same time, we're all born under the sky's in a different place, but we're all born under the same sky. So we're still born under the entire astrological wheel. It's just that's the exact position it was down to the second. We can figure that out, right? So,
Nick, what are you? Curious.
Aries, come on.
Oh, I should have known.
And then I'm Aries moon, and then like how me and Nick kind of like jived was we were pretty obnoxious and forward about things and saying the thing like, oh, don't say the thing. No, we said the thing, and it's like, okay, I like this guy. Yeah.
Right. What are you, Ethan?
I'm a Leo.
I would have never guessed
I totally
that.
see that, Ethan.
No, I would have never guessed. He's so soft-spoken.
No, I think that would be kind of like a little.
I heard an analogy about Leos before that is applicable to me, where the male lion will let the cubs and the other female lions play with its tail and its mane and so forth, and it doesn't do anything. But a jackal comes around and it's yelling or if you will, it stands up and makes aggressive action type of thing. I'm like that.
Protective.
Who else is a Leo? Obama.
Really?
Obama's a Leo, and then you have Pope Leo now from Chicago, the first American Pope. See what I'm saying?
AJ, what are you?
Take a guess.
Oh God. See, I'm horrible at these things.
Wait, so Ethan, you said you're a Leo. Julia, what are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, and then TJ, Nick, what are you guys?
I'm an Aries.
I'm a Cancer.
I'm no good, but can I guess Scorpio, AJ?
You're of the right element. I know his. So, but you're of the right element.
Scorpio is water, right?
Yes.
Partially, yeah.
Are you an Aquarius?
Aquarius is air.
Oh shit! Yeah. See, fuck me, you guys.
I'm a water sign. I'm a water sign.
Pisces.
I'm a Pisces. I am the fish. I was born on the Ides of March, the stabbing of Julius Caesar, and this year's Super Bowl took place in Caesar's Superdome when Cooper DeJean had the pick six right before halftime. My dog's name is Cooper. He is a Leo. He is a Leo, and then you have Cooper Flag playing against my alma mater. This year has been wild for me, just in.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, but I feel that every single one of us have this exact type of story. If you lean into the occult knowledge, which is the hidden knowledge from you, they're keeping it from you and you and you and you for a reason. They don't want you to know about yourself. They want you to focus on other people. They want you to focus on the news. They want you to not look inward and focus on yourself. But when you do that, yeah.
Check this out.
Nick, what are you laughing at?
The leotards on the bottom.
Oh,
That is the Pisces
yeah.
symbol.
There you
Yes,
go. Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
it is the Pisces symbol. Wow,
Hence
yeah.
my whole name, BallDontLie.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
Yeah,
For me, it all
that's
started with
wild.
basketball. Nick, are you a basketball fan?
No, not really. No, I was probably at least in sport when I liked sports.
Well, what's funny is that I played basketball with Klay Thompson, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
Him and I were in the same graduating class in high school, so I got to see him, go to play at Washington State. I wrote a whole book on Klay, and the reason was because as I was learning about this knowledge, I started looking into Klay because, all of a sudden he's now in the pros and he's winning championships and he's playing against LeBron James. And sure enough, it just blew my mind about Klay Thompson. I call this Klay of the Earth and the 4 elements of matter. And the biggest thing about Klay is that he is so connected to water. It's ridiculous. Okay. It is ridiculous. But he also taps into the other elements of matter as well, right? Earth, air, wind, etc. Not trying to go down a separate rabbit hole, but just to give another little background about myself, right? It's not like Klay and I were really buds, but we were in the same classes. We took same classes and we played basketball together for a year. And it's just so interesting to see what he went on to be. He was voted most likely to become a professional athlete in our high school. His dad was the former #1 overall pick. I think it was back in like '87. He was from Minnesota, where the Lakers are from. He ended up playing for the Lakers. Lakes. Klay Thompson played in Washington State. Think about Wash, right? Klay Thompson's from Los Angeles. Okay, think about the ports in Los Angeles, but he grew up in Oregon, like how you row with an oar. Yeah. He's from Lake Oswego, Oregon. That's where he grew up, Lake and Oar. He was a Splash brother. You see what I'm saying? That's just right off the top. But that's what the whole book.
Season, like he's known for hanging out on his boat. Like if he's not playing basketball, he's chilling on his boat.
Yep. Or he's in the Bahamas on his jet ski. They call him Captain Klay, right? I touch a lot too about how, he did an advertisement for Cash App. He did an advertisement for Cash App. Have you guys ever thought about how cash is so connected to water?
Yeah, the cash flow.
Riverbanks, liquidity. When you're in debt, you're underwater. Okay. There is so much about that. But anyways, I just thought I would plug that in really quick.
You pan gold from water.
Exactly.
Even Captain Klay, you even get the CC. That's B33.
Well, Klay is spelled with a K.
Oh,
so it would technically be CK, but I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
What's funny is Klay his birthday was the date of Kobe's statue unveiling last year.
Oh.
So there's that whole thing. His dad has a whole podcast radio show for the Lakers because that's what he's known for, playing for the Lakers. And now Klay leaves Golden State and goes to Dallas, and then Luka, the main player, goes to the Lakers. You see what I'm saying? It's freaking wild, you guys. Once again, I can go on for days, man. I don't know if you guys have a hard stop or whatever, but I'm having a good time. I really appreciate you guys letting me jump on with you guys.
I've already learned a ton. It makes me want to look into it makes me want to go back to all of past research I've done and see if there are connections there with names and places and stuff like that. Because, Nick, I like to dive deep into all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. And sometimes, I need help. I can't, it's a lot for one person to take on, and there's so many different layers to all of these theories. This has to be a part of it, though.
Well, Julia, as the saying goes, there is strength in numbers.
Yeah, right. There you go.
and that was the slogan for the Golden State Warriors just a year or two ago. Strength in numbers, just blasted across their chest during warm-ups and everything. And
how true.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love doing this kind of stuff, is because we all lean on each other. We all share information. We add to it. We correct
Oh,
each
yeah.
other. You know,
Mhm.
it's really cool what Nick's doing with his page. And TJ, once again, shout out to you for. I didn't even ask you to set this up. You just reached out and was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you want to jump on? Let's do it." And I was like, "Hell yeah, dude!" You know,
Nice. Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so cool, the community, right? I've lost a lot of people in my own normal day-to-day life, but I have met so many beautiful people along the way that are in the
Same.
same boat.
Yeah.
And it's even like family members sometimes that, like, I love my family to death, but they would never get on board with like any of the stuff that I like to talk about. I love them. They're my family, but I feel like my conspiracy family is almost like I chose these people. It's like the family I got to choose,
That is true.
and I'm so much closer with them. Yeah. That's how I met my husband. Nick knows.
Dope.
Oh, God, yeah, technically, I mean, I guess that was due to me too, because I guys had you both on the show together.
Yeah, you actually set up the podcast episode where I met my husband for the first time, talking about conspiracies.
No idea. It wasn't even set up like that. It was just like,
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Is like we're the family we get to choose, because we all understand that we're being lied to and poisoned at every level. And I wish I could get my actual bio family on board, but they're still, oh yeah, RFK Jr., he's such a cool guy and he's doing so many cool things and Donald Trump's gonna save us. And I just, I can't.
my father's just finally starting to come around. I'm like,
Oh, well, you're lucky.
I think he got tired of me saying like silly shit to him. If you believe it or not, the whole Pope thing, actually, that bothered him.
That bothered him out of everything.
Well, there was other things already, things I was even bringing up when I heard about the Pope stuff. He's like, yeah, that actually bothered me a little bit. That's what he said.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't have to like.
You didn't have to try that hard.
Yeah, like shit, weird, dude, right?
Right, yeah.
Someone in the chat.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Well, someone in the chat, sipping on, I believe I'm probably killing his pronunciation, mentioned that the Vatican was 44 acres. I looked it up, and I think it's even more amazing than that. It's 44 hectares and 109 acres, which 108, 109 are like, of course, very symbolically powerful. So I thought that was really interesting correspondence.
109 is a big number with shooting as well. Shooting equals 109, just like 44 when you reduce it. I decided to put up just another little blip here, since we were talking about the Joker earlier, right? Just show like that. I thought this would be another good plug, just to show you guys another book. It's called Matt on the Moon. This was back when Matthew Perry died. Okay. And what are you laughing at, Nick?
I thought the comments. I'm sorry.
Comments.
I'm sorry. The comments cracked me up.
No, you're good. But yeah, check this out, you guys. So you guys remember that, right? When
100, I remember it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Let me shoot. Where is it? Here we go.
Wasn't he a crackhead or something?
Oh, he was an alcoholic.
He was some type of a drug addict too.
He had a lot of addictions, at least what they tell us. I opened by talking about his last ever post on Instagram was this. You guys remember this? It was a picture of him with headphones on in a spa in a body of water with the moon over his head. And he said, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good. I'm Matt Man."
Clearly on crack when he wrote that.
But think about Batman and Batman, right? We've already talked about that with the Joker themes. Okay. And then scrolling down a couple of pages, he even says right here, his video before that was a video of the moon. And he says, "Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm Matt Man." I feel like this is like a low-key plug. It's like he's screaming at you. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? But going back to the Joker thing, look at this, you guys. So we're going to rewind to not this year's Super Bowl, but last year's Super Bowl. what I write here, I says, in case you didn't catch on by now, take note that I mentioned earlier regarding Matthew Perry's character on the TV show Friends, Chandler Bing, who apparently, by the way, if you guys didn't know this, a lot of these characters in these TV shows have fictional birthdays. So if you went to Google and just searched,
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if you went to Google and just searched Chandler Bing's birthday, who is a fictional character played by Matthew Perry, it's April 8th. Why does that matter? Because last year was the eclipse on April 8th. Okay.
And he's posting all that moon shit.
All the moon shit, exactly, right before the eclipse.
God.
So this is why I said it's the same date as the 2024 eclipse. And last year, once again, the 2024 NCAA Men's College Basketball Championship game, just months after Matthew Perry's death, the championship game was in Arizona, home of the towns Perry and Chandler.
Shut your fucking mouth.
What?
Oh my God.
The 2024 NCAA Men's College Basketball Championship game is also being hosted in Phoenix, which is interesting when you consider that during the time of this ritual, which this is all this is, you guys, they're rituals in time, because they're the ones that created this calendar. See what I'm saying? This calendar was created
100.
in a certain way, intentionally, just like our language.
Right.
And me writing this book, the movie Joker 2 is set to release later in 2024, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Matthew Perry, who refers to himself as Matman, also directly aligned himself to the latest actor who played the Joker, connecting his Chandler dance. I don't know if you guys are Friends fans.
Yeah, I watched it. Mm-hmm.
But he compares the Chandler dance to Phoenix's infamous pose as the Joker a few years prior to these things unfolding. In case you have never watched the show Friends, the character Chandler was a jokester, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So look at this. Matthew Perry jokes about comparison between his Friends character and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. What are the freaking odds that they have? Well, actually, Joaquin Phoenix's birthday is the date of Matthew Perry's death.
No.
I just looked up the Joaquin Phoenix changed his name from Joaquin Raphael Bottom.
He just changed his name,
So
really?
No wonder he changed. No, but
he changed it
he was
from
born.
that?
Oh, that was his original name. That was original.
I found Phoenix, as you described it, to be too powerful of a name to be actual. And it turns out he was Joaquin Raphael Bottom, which is a bottom. What's a weird? Very.
Well, Ethan, did you know the whole family changed their last name to Phoenix while they were a part of the Hand of what is the Children of God cult? They changed their last name to Phoenix after joining the Children of God cult.
Whoa,
Isn't that crazy? This cult is a bunch of like pedophiles and like weird, and then like River died at the Viper Room, and like I'm pretty sure it was on Halloween. There's a bunch of weird numbers and stuff with River too.
Well, you know that
whole
Joaquin,
family is fucked.
Joaquin. Did you mention River because Joaquin has a brother named River? Is that what he said?
Yeah, Joaquin's brother River died at the fucking Viper Room on Halloween. Yeah, that's so crazy to me. How all that
Matman in English does equal Perry too.
There you go. Well, so I titled that chapter "Purdy Went to Perry." So the reason I said that was because Brock Purdy was the quarterback of the 49ers, who were in the Super Bowl that particular year in Arizona, in Phoenix. And a suburb of Phoenix is both Chandler and Perry.
That's just
and
too much.
Brock Purdy went to Perry High School. in Phoenix.
It's too much. It's too much.
And then Matthew Perry, who played Chandler Bing, who has the same birthday as the Eclipse. You see what I'm saying? Like, you guys.
And what I covered on that too, it's like the Phoenix, the rise of the Phoenix. I kind of teach it as like it's a boiling point where you're changing state. So a boiling point, you're going from liquid to gas, and then the Phoenix is the phonics. So it's taking all that you're going through, reaching that boiling point, and rising through the ashes to then speak your phonetics, your phonics out. That Super Bowl was on February 12th, 212. The boiling point in Fahrenheit is 212 degrees.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, so the Phoenix also represents reincarnation, right? The rise of the Phoenix, the crash and the fall, and the resurrection, right? Makes me think about the Economist cover back in, what was it, TJ? It was like the 33rd, the Economist cover, the one with the big Phoenix standing on the burning bills and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to scare people, but things are not going to look good economically, if you will. Fun facts. The U.S. has only had 2 split-term presidents. Okay? The first one was Grover Cleveland, which is why when Donald Trump won and then he lost for re-election and he came back, that's why Cleveland had a good run this year. But that's why Cleveland was in the World Series the year that Donald Trump first showed up on the political scene. Right. So Donald Trump and Cleveland is very heavily connected. But
did you know all the Rockefellers are buried in Cleveland?
Oh, dear. I did not know that.
I went to the grave site. It's pretty cray. They got a huge obelisk that goes all the way up, and it's all the fucking Rockefeller bodies in Cleveland, in a trash ass part of town that nobody dares to go into too. You would think that they would be buried at like some really nice place. No.
Yeah, is there a story behind that, Julia?
As far as I know, I think that they started their business in Cleveland or something like that with the petroleum stuff, and then they wanted to go back home to be buried, to be in Cleveland. But also Elliot Ness and President Garfield are buried in the same cemetery as the Rockefellers. And like I said, this cemetery is in a trash ass part of town. Why they chose this area, I don't know. It's probably significant, probably something to do with, you know, the address or whatever.
Or even the coordinates, like longitude.
The coordinates, yeah. It just, to think of the Rockefellers, you would think of like some mausoleum somewhere that's like gold encrusted, and it's not. It's like crackheads literally, you know, throw their needles out right by the graves of the Rockefellers. Like, it's not nice at all whatsoever.
The only reason I brought up Grover Cleveland, besides the connections with Trump, is because there's only been 2 times in history that there's been a split-term president. Donald Trump is now the second to have a split term besides Grover Cleveland. But when Grover Cleveland came back and had his second part of the split, it was not good. The economy went into the shitter. So, you know, just a forewarning. I don't say that as doom and gloom. I just say that to encourage people to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to be prepared for whatever's to come. Right. Make sure to have some cash on hand. Make sure to have food and water, shelter, whatever it is. Right. Because COVID, the latest example, more's coming. Just be prepared.
In my research of it, 2027 is going to be quite the year. I'm not like making claims or anything, but looking at numbers for the last 8 years or however long it's been, 2027 is a big one. And it has to do with pi and money and all this, because USD, if in the reduction cipher, is U would be 3, S would be 1, and D would be 4. So 314.314 is pi. And the smallest fraction that you can create a number close to pi is 22 divided by 7. So
and by the way, if you type out 22 divided by 7, it equals 314.
Yeah. So, and it's pi, piece of the pie, the coin, and all this. So it's just a year that's shown up a lot For
Yeah.
So you think it's going to be like a crash, like a depression?
yeah, and like yeah, and the I don't have it on me, but like the numerology surrounding the Great Depression had a lot to do with that as well. It was a very similar kind
Really?
of thing. So yeah, it's a little
Wow.
spooky.
Like 27 Club for everybody.
The 22-7 club is what it'll be.
Right. There
Yeah.
you go.
One thing I will say, you know, I'm just gonna put it this way. I'm not trying to like sound nasty. I think a lot of people who kind of go on and think that this whole thing, that the way the economy is going great, and everything Trump is doing is probably not people who have their money somewhere stashed and actually hoping to make something off of it. I'm just gonna keep it real. It's coming from a lot of kids who probably don't have anything really. They don't have much. But when you're an adult and you actually might have some stocks or savings or CDs, I can tell you right now from myself and other people, Trump has fucked shit up since he came in. Your money was actually worth more with Biden. I hate to fucking say it.
It's not, I mean,
Things might have been fucked up, gas, but the stocks and fucking CDs and mutuals were fucking ridiculous. As soon as Trump came in, it all took a shit, and it hasn't gotten any better.
well,
People
and
need to stop thinking what he's doing. What he's doing is proving a point, and it's always at our expense, isn't it? It's every fucking time this guy's proving a point, we're getting it fucked up the ass, and it's not getting any better. I don't understand what people's deal is with this fucking man. They are fucked up when it comes to Trump.
Well, Nick, isn't it just, once again, no Gematria? I know that the theme of this episode is about Gematria, and I can get into more numbers whenever you guys want, but we were talking earlier. Okay, Donald Trump, okay, he comes back. He doesn't put his hand on the Bible. And then now he's out selling Bibles. Okay? And then now he's building a golden statue of himself in Israel or Gaza or whatever. And just, okay, another pop quiz. What is Donald Trump's slogan? What's kind of, his main
Grab
slogan?
him by the pussy.
Golden age.
Yeah, well, the golden age. That's a whole other thing. Just think about how Todd Golden of Florida just won the NCAA championship right after Donald Trump comes back, and Cooper Flagg and Duke go down and blah blah blah. But anyways, no, it's MAGA. Make America Great Again. I think TJ knows where I'm going with this. But if you guys are familiar with the Church of Satan,
oh yeah,
it's on their website. It's on their website.
Okay.
MAGA is the highest ranking degree in the Church of Satan. MAGA or Magus.
Yeah, MAGA and Magus are like interchangeable.
They are the highest. It is the highest rank in the Church of Satan. Here's another one.
Stop.
Before Donald Trump was elected, you guys may or may not remember this. Donald Trump was at, and maybe TJ or Nick can help remind me of what it was called. But it was like this president correspondence dinner. It was kind of like a fun little, not even like a roast, but it was just a fun gathering when Obama, by the way, he's born on August 4th, the 216th day of the year, which, what do we talk about, Julia? 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216, okay? But Obama was giving a speech, and he was making fun of Trump, who was sitting right in front of him, about when Donald Trump was calling Obama out for not being a true American. And then he did this whole thing calling himself Simba, Leo, right? So there was that whole thing. And then he showed an image of what it would look like if Donald Trump was president. And then they did this whole funny Vegas thing, like, whatever, just really bagging on Donald Trump before he got elected. That was on the 45th year anniversary of the Church of Satan on April 30th. The 45th anniversary. What happened after that day?
President
Donald
45.
Trump became number 45. And then he started running on MAGA. And he started running on MAGA, which is the highest ranking degree in the Church of Satan, you guys. Like,
oh
it's
my
so
God.
simple.
That's so
And it's right
disgusting
there.
of him.
Of course it
That's
is.
so disgusting.
But,
Well, I mean, is he really the president? Because I think it's Peter Thiel, actually. I mean,
well, you guys know that the Pope isn't the highest rank in the Catholic Church, right? You guys ever heard of the Black Pope?
Yeah, I have heard of that. I never really
I've
got
heard of it.
I have heard of
Uh-huh.
that.
His name is Arturo Sosa. You know what's hilarious? Arturo Sosa has the same birthday as Sammy Sosa.
Huh. Wow.
Sammy Sosa, the big hitter of the Cubs back in the day.
Yeah.
Chicago. Obama, Mr. Chicago, born on the 216th day of the year, 666.
Yeah, that is
Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, is from Chicago. See what I'm saying? It's so simple. I know it's a lot. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little animated and excited.
Even the first three
I
letters of
prefer it that
Chicago.
way.
Chi in the first three letters of Chicago. Yeah. There must have been.
Yep.
Yo, even so, Mario just mentioned from symbolic studies, and you know, I thought of this too the first time I looked at it because I'm like, I'm gonna have I don't know, just the word itself, like in the Goetia, there's certain types of. Here it is. Where is it? In the Goetia, the hierarchy of demons are kings, princes, duke, marquises, if that's right, correct, and presidents. Like that's a type of presidents.
Is a type of demon?
It's a hierarchy of demons. They're considered presidents.
They're like upper echelon motherfuckers.
Oh, I think they're like
the
lower ones, honestly. I think
they're the lower ones.
I think some of the lower ones, yeah.
I'm reading it backwards. So it goes like kings are the upper echelon, princes, dukes, marquis, counts, and presidents. So he's not even like a higher up demon. He's like a fucking henchman.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and Peter Thiel's fingers up his ass.
Right.
Technically, we have our first gay president. Oh,
no, that's not our first fucking gay president.
He's openly gay.
Who's openly gay?
Peter Thiel, and that's because Gawker caught him, blasted him, and then Peter Thiel, because he was pissed off at Gawker, helps Hulk Hogan sue Gawker for putting out his tape, and then who's out there pulling his shirt off for Trump this year? Fucking Hulk Hogan, because Peter Thiel's got his thumb up his ass too.
Yeah.
And it's the HH. So that's 88. Trump equals 88.
And Nick, when Hulk Hogan did that, what did he say?
You check Peter Thiel, everybody around Trump is paid by him.
He said, enough is enough. Well, in the tarot deck, there is, in the Illuminati card game, there's a card that says enough is enough. And it has literally the face of Donald Trump on it. So
shut up.
Yep.
Yo,
oh my gosh!
Not to keep going on. I'm going on Peter Thiel now. Just another thing, because I don't think a lot of people probably know this. Like the last time that Donald Trump was in office, when he gave away, took away all these jobs from all these other people and all these positions, who the fuck he gave so many of them to Peter Thiel? And when he brought us the vaccination, who helped dispense all of those across the country? Well, Peter Thiel did. So Trump gave it to us, and Peter Thiel helped pump it into everybody's fucking arms. People need to wake up to this fucking cocksucker Peter Thiel. He's literally
sucking
it
cocks.
It is an important issue too, in the sense, I know it's off topic, but they're Peter Thiel and Elon are both into the technocratic rule of society, which is really oligarchy. You can interpret it however you want, but it would make our republic look very sweet, I'm sure. When we had if we were to have a technocracy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Trump one time, and I swear this was one of the things that really, I was already questioning him, but when he was debating last time, he was debating Biden about gun crime, and he says he wouldn't control the guns. He's saying that he would use pre-crime to help cut down on gun control. And I was like, yo, you just said what? And who's into pre-crime? Palantir Peter fucking Thiel.
Whispered it right into his ear.
When they show you that picture of Trump and Elon at that football game with their fucking shit-eating grins on that fucking screen, Palantir's fucking advertisements right next to them on the fucking screen for that photo. Come the fuck on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I
just googled it.
Everybody's ass.
I googled Trump is a Gemini, just like Jeffrey Dahmer. So everybody just keep that in mind. Nobody would have suspected him of a thing, yet he had 14 black guys cut up in his freezer. So just remember that. You tell me he doesn't give you serial killer vibes.
Well, I mean,
Trump.
He did give us the vaccination. I mean, it's only been a few years. It's only been a few years.
Yeah, see, there
Let's
you
see
go.
where- I think he came back this time. So when they have adverse effects, he's got the fix for you too.
Sure he does.
And it won't be from that though. It'll be something new. And he'll be here to give you another fucking jab.
Monkeypox in your fucking beehole. And then you got to get a shot for that.
Oh, they already tried that. Remember the monkey? It was only like affecting gay people. It was like a popular
Right.
fight, and then it disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, this is off topic, but you know how I've been like congested. I was even worse on the last show, but I told Colby, I was like, yeah, a couple of years ago, I would have had to been locked down in quarantine. Somebody would have said I had fucking COVID and I wouldn't be allowed to leave my house. Now I go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you have a cold. It's just a cold. Oh, colds are back, everybody. Fuck, just like Backstreet Boys. Colds are back. All right. So, I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, when do they make these rules? Just a bunch of Fantasyland bullshit.
The funding probably stopped, so like they don't have to really do anything about COVID anymore. Like that code isn't in the computer anymore to get an automatic certain amount of money. So it's like fucking who cares though.
There's probably something to do with the 19 too, right? With all the COVID stuff. Gematria.
Well, even mine, like we were saying, it's like, oh, they're going to integrate AI, A1, I9. And it's just like, hey, this 19 is going to be a lot of AI. Now we can't go an hour of our lives without experiencing AI.
And you're, by the way, we are literally at the 1 hour 56-minute mark. 9/11 is the 156 prime number.
There we go.
This is how beautiful this is, you guys.
That's so
Like,
crazy.
I'm dead ass. Like,
Crazy,
this stuff organically happens all the time, and it shows how perfect our Creator is. You know, whether you want to call it Jesus or God or Yahweh or whatever, when you lean into this knowledge, you see it happen real time as we're speaking in this very moment.
Yes.
Talking about 9/11, as we're at the 1 hour 56-minute mark.
That's so
unbelievable,
wild. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Hey Nick, let me share my screen here. We're gonna go down another quick rabbit hole. Okay.
All right, yeah, and then we'll wrap it up after this.
Yeah. This will be the last one. So,
Texas Ranger. Oh, come on.
Speaking of 9/11, let's talk about last year's World Series. Not this past World Series, but the year prior. And it was the Diamondbacks versus the Texas Rangers. So we're just going to read through this one chapter of my book called They're After Me. It's one of my latest mini books, but I think you guys will get a kick out of this, and it gives a nice little splash of the Gematria theme of today's live. So I say, to kick off the first strand of this beautiful web of life that is also the wool over most people's eyes, I feel it's best to start off mentioning the ritual that took place with the 2023 World Series champion Texas Rangers, concluding the 119th World Series. And it was on the 119th day of George Bush's age. Perfect. Who was the sitting U.S. president during 2001's terrorist attacks on 11/9 or 9/11. And he also used to own the Texas Rangers.
Oh.
So the Rangers went on to win and defeat the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 5 of the 2023 World Series, which matters because George W. Bush also threw out the first pitch in Game 3 of the 2001 World Series, where the Arizona Diamondbacks defeated the Yankees. Okay. On October 30th, 2001, exactly 7 weeks after the infamous day of September 11th, the day that left 111 days left in the year. Don't forget that New York is the 11th state. The Twin Towers look like a massive 11, etc. 9/11, 9/11.
I think it's more of a reason for Yankees if it has, because of the Janus attachment to it for the 11. I mean, I even think that fits it even more.
So these are just some screenshots just showing here. Right, November 1st, that was the day of Game 5 when the Rangers defeated the Diamondbacks to win the World Series. on the 119th day of George Bush's age in the 119th World Series.
Oh,
See that right here.
Come on.
God.
Okay.
I just cannot believe some of this stuff.
That shit's weird.
Like, I believe it. It's just like unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like crazy.
This is why I mean truth is truly stranger than fiction, and it's so right in front of our face.
I hate that
and that's
guy, by the way. Fucking asshole.
Well, I'm just saying that's why people that follow me, a lot of people are just interested in these types of observations when it comes to what's going on right now in the world of sports and news.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a screenshot of George Bush when he owned the Rangers.
Look at him in his gay little Rangers jacket. I can't stand him.
Red, white, and blue, right? Just like the Texas flag, just like the U.S. flag.
He just looks like a little fairy fruitcake fucker. Look at him.
Now watch this. Now watch this drive.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? This is the truth right here. To go back to Trump. Trump could come out and say something nice about this guy tomorrow, or he could say something against the left tomorrow, and Trump could promote it. And everybody on the right would start sucking his dick as they've been talking shit about him for the last few years. That's how serious it
about
is. Bush? I guarantee you, if Trump
Bush,
was to promote that guy, everybody would be cooking for him next. After they've been shitting on him for years. That's the power.
So keeping it moving really quick. So check this out. So we talked about the Rangers, right? The Rangers winning the World Series on the 119th day of George Bush's age in the 119th MLB World Series. Okay. And then moving on to the NHL, right? To the Hockey League. You have the New York Rangers that went on to win the 2024 President's Trophy. Are you serious?
Wow.
Awarded to the NHL team each year that has the most regular season wins.
Ugh.
Okay. Now, here's what I say. I said, don't quickly forget what we just talked about. New York, 9/11, George W. Bush, the U.S. president during 9/11, and the Texas Rangers. Don't ignore either that the New York Rangers and the Texas Rangers share the exact same colors. And the New York Rangers were originally founded by a man by the name of Tex Rickard.
Wow.
While the Texas Rangers were once owned by George Bush and his daddy, Bush Sr. Okay.
Oh my God.
So keeping it moving. Once again, we're just going to do this one chapter, but I think this will be a great send-off. So speaking of the Bush family, take note that the W initial in their middle name stands for Walker. Right? George W. Bush stands for Walker, which is very intriguing for a multitude of reasons in light of what we've discussed thus far. This conveniently segues to two specific topics that interconnect perfectly within this spiderweb laid out before us every day. First is the death of Paul Walker. You guys remember that story?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
How did he die?
Car crash.
Yeah.
In a red Porsche, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Paul Walker reportedly died in a red Porsche. Well, Paul Walker is famously known for his Fast and Furious movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are the odds, for what he's most known for? He dies in a car crash.
I thought the same thing, but I also thought they did it to him on purpose.
Yeah, or if that's how if he was even killed,
Right.
That's just what they tell us, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he also once starred in a movie called The Skulls. You guys familiar with this?
No.
It came out in 2000. So it came out right before 9/11. And it's literally about Skull and Bones.
What?
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
I have.
Is it like legit?
Julia, you better buckle up.
Oh God. Oh.
So I say it's specifically based on the Skull and Bones Secret Society headquartered at Yale University. In this movie, as a gift of becoming part of the secret society, Paul's character, Caleb Mandrake, is awarded a red Porsche.
Fuck you.
Right here.
Oh my God.
So he's
And
given a
it-
red Porsche. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interject. I just wanted to add for people that don't remember that John Kerry and George Bush were both members of Skull and Bones and were running for president.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Ethan, for adding that.
Yeah.
Ethan, you just reminded me. So, are you guys familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Uh-huh. So I think somebody just made a
Yeah,
comment about
yeah.
that.
So, Georgia, George Bush, right? The Georgia Guidestones. Do you guys remember when they blew up?
Yeah.
I remember.
Directed energy weapon.
So, the Georgia Guidestones were first unveiled on what date?
Don't know, actually.
Don't
3, 2,
tell
2,
me.
3.
March 22nd. March 22nd,
322.
1980. 322. March 22nd, 1980. So you write that date 322, the number and bones. And then when the Georgia Guidestones blew up, it was on George Bush's 76th birthday. Skull and bones equals 76 in reverse reduction.
Oh
Yeah.
my fuck. Oh my
Perfect.
god.
Absolutely
Yeah, that's
perfect.
weird.
Yeah, Nick, you seeing that? You pulling that up?
It's too much. That is
No, that's fucking
too
weird, man.
much.
So we're talking about Paul Walker and George Walker Bush, a member of Skull and Bones, like Ethan just said, as well as John Kerry, right? And now you have Paul Walker's character in 2000, the year before 9/11. His character is awarded a red Porsche.
Wow.
And look at this. This is the image that they show us. Fast and Furious actor suffered major burns and trauma injuries when Porsche he was traveling in crashed in LA. And look, it's a red Porsche. See that?
Los Angeles Angels.
There you go. So we're getting close to the end here, I think. We're just doing
He
this one
died on
chapter.
my birthday? Oh my
Are
god.
you November 30th?
Yes.
Well, what are the odds that George H.W. Bush also died on November 30th? What if I told you that?
Oh my god, I do not want them dying on my birthday. No.
Both of them died on this day, on your birthday.
Fuck that. They're not allowed to die on my fucking birthday.
Well, they did.
Yeah, too late.
Too late, yep. So
And you gotta hope
look,
that it's a fake death, and they really didn't.
Right.
yeah, I just right here, George Walker Bush Jr. and Sr. both graduated from Yale Skull and Bones, and Paul Walker died the same day as George Herbert Walker Bush 5 years prior. Okay?
Oh my god, that makes me sick.
The
Now we're gonna
Bushes got to be the craziest American power family, right? The whole 3 generations of them. It's so fascinating for you to bring this up, considering all. I don't even want to call it a conspiracy that they're involved in, and considering all the things that they were involved in.
I mean, it's so perfect, right? At some point, people need to no longer call it a coincidence. I mean, I don't know how many examples I need to bring.
Much.
You know,
it's too much. I can see why you wrote all the mini books, because
it's like, okay,
it's
a
lot to digest.
Did this not resonate with you? Okay, let's try this one. Okay,
yeah,
let's try
exactly.
this one. I have 10 of them. I mean, it's nonstop. But yeah, let's wrap this up. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Oh, that's
drag this
great.
on for too long.
Oh no, if it wasn't this late, I wouldn't care. It's just it's like
I appreciate it, Nick. So
Oh,
lastly,
yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to segue now to the show Walker, Texas Ranger. This is before my time, but when I thought about
we get to this.
What's that?
I was hoping we get to him. I was going to be very upset if we didn't get to Walker.
Oh, you're going to love this part, Nick. So next on the list is a television show called Walker, Texas Ranger. It broadcasted from 1993 to 2001.
Came out in 93.
Yeah, 93. Reminds me of United 93, right? From 9/11. But it ended also the year of 9/11 in 2001. Starring Carlos Ray Norris. George H. Walker Bush was born on the date leaving 202 days remaining in the year. And his son was born, right? George W. Bush was born on July 6th, the date written 7/6 in the majority of the world, reminding that the words skull and bones equate to 202 and 76 among the reverse base ciphers of English Gematria. sharing the
No.
same values as the words Walker, Texas Ranger. See what I'm saying? So these are just the base ciphers.
That is so fucking wild.
This further amplifies what's been mentioned in my prior books, touching on why the Georgia Guidestones, we just talked about this, the Georgia Guidestones were unveiled in Georgia on March 22nd, 1980.
George, as in George.
Exactly,
Oh my
Georgia,
God.
Georgia.
Why am I just getting that?
It's right. It's so right in front of your face, right? It's so right there.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. Sometimes it is so in front of your face. I don't think you.
So obvious you miss it, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you mentioned yet, AJ, about 322 pertaining to Skull and Bones, right? It being really associated with them.
Yeah. That's the very end of this paragraph, right? So I say March 22nd, written 322. That was the date that the Georgia Guidestones were unveiled. They were destroyed on George Bush's 76th birthday, and his birthday is written 7/6, and Skull and Bones 76, just like Walker, Texas Ranger. Okay. The date written 7/6, etc. But yeah. So Ethan, to your point, equaling 76, and this secret society represents themselves by the number 322. Okay.
That is so wild.
It gets better. It gets better. You ready? As for Mr. Walker, Texas Ranger himself, Carlos or Chuck Norris, it's worth pointing out that Game 1 of the 2023 World Series took place exactly 161 days after the anniversary of the last ever aired episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. And that matters because Carlos Norris, his actual name, so they tell us, equals 161 when you use the simplest cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. But when you include the end date, you could also say that it was a span of 162 days, sharing the same value as the words Major League Baseball and baseball. And also reminding that in the MLB, in pro baseball, Julia, the regular season is 162 games. So think about that. Baseball and Major League Baseball both equal 162, and the regular season of the MLB is 162 games. And for the record, former Texas Ranger owner George Walker Bush equates to 1,062 in Sumerian. So here are the images to show.
Who would ever name a ginger Carlos?
You know what I remember with the whole Chuck Norris thing? Like back when I was a kid, there was so much Chuck Norris jokes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Ethan, do you guys remember that about how like Chuck Norris can do no wrong?
Oh yeah, I still see that on Instagram now.
Yeah. But anyways, this whole Rangers World Series, when they won, it was so perfectly tied in with Walker, Texas Ranger. And George
it blows
Bush.
my mind.
Yeah. So look at all the 162s.
Wow.
Or 161 if you include or exclude the end date. It's crazy. So I say here for the record, Game 1 of the 2023 World Series was also played a span of 205 days before the anniversary. So I just flipped the measurement. Okay. I looked at before and then I looked at after. Well, look at that. Perfect. 205 days, just like Carlos Ray Norris's full name. It's perfect. And then lastly here, in closing, you guys, considering the connections we've just discussed surrounding Chuck Norris, his show Walker, Texas Ranger, and George Walker Bush having owned the Texas Rangers, as well as the sitting U.S. president during the infamous attack on 9/11, what are the odds, you guys, that Chuck Norris has the exact same birthday as Osama bin Laden?
No. Oh my God. That's so cray-cray.
I'm just going to leave it there. Like I said, this is just one chapter of one of my books. I just thought it was fitting with kind of what we were talking about with 9/11 and Skull and Bones and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
Someone in the comments says my brain hurts.
Yeah.
But like,
I
wasn't it simple
even
though?
stopped
Like,
smoking weed because I was like, I got to pay attention.
but I feel that everything I shared is very simple.
Mhm.
Very, very simple stuff. It's just a lot, right? It's like that little slow drip idea.
Mhm.
But I'll just close by saying, Nick, Julia, Ethan, TJ, it's been a real pleasure, you guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the opportunity, the platform. I love just connecting with like-minded folks that want to learn more, and I'm always here to learn more myself. So
Awesome, man.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Nick.
No, thank you, and TJ, thank you for bringing them on. Oh, for real, that was a blast, dude. I really had a good time. I think we were all just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Actually, I'll let we're gonna wrap it up, obviously. I'll have everybody kind of like plug their stuff, and then I'll have you remind everybody, AJ. Real quick, Julia, let everybody know where they can find your show again. People.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, this was really interesting. I learned a lot. Like I said, I'm glad you invited me on to this one. It was awesome. Great time. I have Cosmic Peach podcast available wherever you listen to podcasts, or just Google me, bitch. I'll pop up on something.
You definitely will.
And I have Instagram too. If you want to work with me, or if you want to have me on your show, though, please don't send me a message on Instagram. I get way too many messages over there. Go to my link tree and send me an email, please, because I don't, some people, oh, you never responded to my message. Well, I have 700 of them in there. It's just easier if you send me an email. So go to my link tree, send me an email if you want to work with me. But thanks for having me on. This was awesome.
Oh, definitely. No, I tell you the truth with this stuff. I know don't always have you on for like the deep occult stuff, but I was like, yo, I really think Julie will get it.
Oh, I loved it.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? By the way, Julia, you're giving your send off at the 2-hour 16-minute mark. We've been talking about 216 and how it's related to the 666 connection. So it's just amazing how perfectly it connects.
Oh my God, that's
you
so
can't escape it. You can't escape it.
Oh wow.
Ethan, please let everybody know where they can find your books and all your amazing work.
Thank you, Nick, for putting this together, and TJ and AJ and Julia. I appreciate you guys. Learned a lot. I'm on all the usual social media, writing and making little observations on YouTube occasionally, and I'm easy to find and appreciate communication. So thanks, AJ, for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ethan. Always appreciate you here, sir. And TJ, please, sir, let everybody know where they can find you.
I just want to shout out to all the Eastern time zones and further on that's staying up late, or the UK people in the morning and stuff for hanging out with us and stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, at contemporary problems _ fuck around and find out. Like, go find me. You'll see what's up. I'm pretty inconsistent, but I'm had a lot going on in life, and I'm getting back into it like today even. So yeah. This was an awesome show. This is like right up my alley and stuff. And I'm glad we could bring AJ on and yeah, go through it.
Hell yeah. No, that was a blast. Thank you very much, man, for making this happen. So I really appreciate it. And last but not least, the man of the last 2 hours, AJ. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Nick, once again. I just want to thank everybody in the chat who's contributed with further additions. I want to thank you, Nick, for allowing for me to come onto your platform, especially with how new I am into the YouTube space. So just all your support, anybody in the chat, it means the world to me. I really appreciate it. This wouldn't have happened without TJ. So I just want to really thank TJ for being an OG, at least on my journey. Because he's one of the first people that I ever met. And he's doing a lot of things that I don't even ask him to do. And I'm so grateful for that. Ethan, Julia, it was so nice meeting you guys. Seriously, it always a pleasure to expand the network and get to know people and where I can find them. As far as finding me, you guys can find me at BallDontLie with 3 L's on Instagram, as well as YouTube, where I'm broadcasting for today. I do sell my books on Patreon. However, all the books that we kind of went through today, etc., I am more than happy to send it to anybody for free. I don't do any of that to make money, but I do appreciate anybody who appreciates the work and wants to support wherever they can. So just find me, send me a DM on Instagram, find my email, just ask me for the books. I'll send them over to you virtually. And anybody interested in the world of sports betting, that kind of stuff, that's where my Patreon and my Winnable page is for. And today was just some past examples or recent examples, if you will, of what I focus on every day. And yeah, just thank you to everybody. I'm so forever grateful. And I hope you guys enjoyed at least some things I had to share. So.
Loved it. Yeah, you crushed.
I get you back on. Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not the last, right?
No, definitely won't be unless you decide not to show up. So don't worry.
No, I'll be there. I'll be there, man. Thanks again, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Hell yeah. And and for real, thank you everybody too in the chat. Like TJ was saying, there was somebody there. I think it was like 333 at one point for them over in the UK. That's what's up. I appreciate it. Thank you everybody who jumped on, and even the new faces on your end. I appreciate the comments. I was able to see them on my side. I tried to put some of them up. And thank you all for joining me. I know it's a little late for some of us and whatever, but that was a blast. I really had a good time, and I appreciate it. And that's the end of another Occult Rejects. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.